And boom, we're going Friday morning. Happy Friday morning, Jeff. Great Friday morning.
Good to be here, man. It's been a while.
Were you watching the game last night?
The Oilers game?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the Oilers. I was actually going back and forth from the Washington game to the Oilers game. McDavid was frustrated.
Yeah.
Very frustrated.
He's had a bit of an interesting start to the season, I'd say. You know, he can still put up his points like he wants to, but I wouldn't say there's been as many games where he's just totally been like the one guy on the ice like we're kind of used to seeing, especially in the North Division. So it's been interesting.
Yeah. I know he played.
I don't know.
He's like, I remember I saw him yelling at who's the other line mate there, 13. Pooh.
Oh, Puljujärvi.
He was yelling at him on the bench.
I know. I saw that too.
I was like, oh, he had the iPad out and he was going, be here, be here, be here. And Puljujärvi was like, where?
Last week he did an interview in Finnish and he was saying it gets pretty intense on that bench when you're playing with Draisaitl and McDavid. So I wasn't surprised to see that.
I believe it.
Yeah.
But the Fucale game, I found out like the Washington Capitals tweeted it. I think at like noon our time, and I didn't see it till 2:00. I don't know what I was doing and how I missed it. But I saw it. The day looked a lot better when you see Fucale's making his NHL debut 7 years after his original draft day with Montreal Canadiens. Good things come to those who wait. His post-game interviews were unbelievable. It was Bruce Boudreau who was actually on the NBC panel there, and that's funny because Bruce was the old coach of Washington, and he was asking him, it must feel good. This must be a proud moment for your family. This must be a proud moment for your teammates as well. And he goes, yeah, it was great. It was great. You come to times where you want to quit. You come to times where you don't want to really play hockey anymore. You bounce from the East Coast to the A and then eventually get to the NHL. But then you get to the NHL and he's back up. He's not really playing. And he talked about not really being, I guess, motivated. You could see it in his voice. You could see it in his facial expression. And then to actually have that relief of playing the game and then to get a shutout on top of it, it's incredible. And you could just see his you could see almost the doubt in his eyes a little bit when he talked about almost giving up. It reminded me of Batherson a little bit, how he's like, I'm not really sure if I want to play. And then he just kept going, and then he's in the NHL.
I mean, even the fact that it's just the start of itself, just one start that he could get under his belt. Like that's for a guy who's been around like the league and jumping, like you said, from A to E in all these leagues, like the fact that he hadn't gotten a start to this point, like just one spot start. Like 3 years after he was drafted, they needed someone to come up. Like that opportunity never came to him, which is insane because like goalies obviously take a little longer to develop, but to wait like what did you say, 7 years?
I think it was like 7 or 6 years.
7 hard years without even so much as like a shot or like, all right, you're playing for us tonight.
Yeah.
It's very inspiring.
And you could see as soon as Zach walked into the dressing room after the win, all of his teammates grabbed water and they gave him a little water champagne shower, just showing their appreciation to how proud they were of him. It was unbelievable. And you could also see in the third period how they were playing. They played great defensive hockey all game, but in the third period, they were blocking shots. They were doing anything to make sure that there was no pucks on net. And it made for an exciting game. Like, it's not really a huge, like, important game. It's a Thursday night in Detroit.
Yeah.
But they made like the game was actually so much fun to watch.
It was awesome, man. And like the personal connection, I think, to High Button and just Halifax in general and all these things made it very special. Like you posted a couple pictures of it and stuff, and like people were really showing love to it. Like, I don't know, like you don't really know like 7 years later like how much Fucale is still in the hearts of these hockey fans, but once you posted that yesterday, it was pretty clear, I thought.
Well, I never played with him, but I played with people that played with him. Like, even when McKinnon came on the podcast, like, he said, he's just a happy-go-lucky guy, positive. Doesn't matter if you're on a 2-3 game losing streak. He was always the guy who walked into the dressing room with a smile on his face, trying to pick everyone up. I think Sawyer Hannay said that, too, about him. There was a couple other, like Trey Lewis said that about him. Anyways, any other guys that we've talked to that have been teammates with him, nothing but great things to say about that guy. And attitudes like that can take you places in the world. Like, you can be a great goalie with a shitty attitude and walk into a dressing room and not have the respect of your teammates. But for Zack, just to always have that happy-go-lucky attitude, you can't tell me that didn't have something to do with getting his opportunity in the NHL yesterday. It's just a matter of time before people notice your work ethic, your attitude, your positive energy. After he's getting a no, 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 you're not ready for the NHL. You're not ready for the NHL. You're not ready for this. You're not ready for that. And for him just to block that out, say, nah, you know what? I'm going to keep going because good things are eventually going to happen. And then they do. You can't tell me that doesn't have something to do with it, with that happy-go-lucky energy.
He's probably so happy right now. If he just probably believed in himself. He's like, man, my opportunity will come. And now that the first game's under the belt, then it's kind of like the floodgates will get open. But I do want to mention a nice thing about Zack, too, I remember, is when we had Ian in here a couple weeks ago, he was talking about when he did, like, his 1,000th game or whatever, and a couple of the guys gave him props for that. A couple of the former Moose, and like of the big dogs, he named Zack like from like that team as one of the guys who came back and like or sent the video message in. I don't know exactly, but he sent a message to him like he was one of the guys from that 2013 team. So it kind of just shows, he still has Halifax clearly in his heart, and like the guy just seems like a good guy, and it's just good things come to those who wait.
I'll tell you a cool story about the company. So back when I moved here from Vancouver, I had to get a job. I was living at my parents' place, and I was working at like a Lay's factory up in Bears Lake. And it got to, I worked there for like 2 weeks, and I ended up quitting. Didn't tell my parents. So what I would do, like the shift started, I remember at 6 a.m. So I would get up, and like my parents would still be asleep, right? So I'd get up, and they'd think I'd be going to the Lay's factory, but actually I'd be going to Starbucks downtown on Spring Garden Road, and and I would just be DMing everyone I'm not gonna name names, but like I DM all the big dogs, like just everyone, come on the podcast, please come on the podcast. Hey, I'm Justin, I'm starting this podcast, like please come on the pod, like everyone. And Fukali was one of them. This was 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I don't know. And Zack was one of the first ones to respond to me. No idea who I was, what High Button Sports was, just not a sweet living clue of anything. And I remember sitting there. I remember because the Starbucks was getting too packed, so I left and went to the library down the street, the new library. So I'm sitting there, and I'm literally just looking at Instagram for like 2 hours, just waiting to see if people have read my message or DM me back. Just refreshing. And it was like a Friday, and it was raining, and the last thing you want to do is go home because like. If you're home and then it's just like, all right, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? What's going on? You don't want to go home. So you're just literally like, you feel like you're homeless a bit because you just don't want to go home. You want to like, So I remember just sitting there like having a bad day, Friday, piss pouring rain, cold, Halifax, trying to start this podcast. And Zack was one of the first big dogs to message me back. And I should say, man, I might actually still have the message in my. He messaged me. I like in our Instagram. I said, "Attaboy Fukali," and he replied to our DM.
That got you through the weekend, eh? For that week.
I'm trying to see if it goes that far back. I completely forgot about this. 15th to 23rd. No, it only goes back to 2018.
Yeah, you've DM'd him since then.
Yeah, we've had a bunch of dialogue together. How long? No longer than an hour. Yeah. Nah, there's no message. The message is gone.
The first one, was it even on the High Button account? Do you think, or
was
it might have been on like your I don't know.
I don't know what account it might have been on. I'm pretty sure because I wouldn't have messaged him on my personal account. Right? I don't think so. Oh, whoa. Wow. Okay. No, you called it.
Really?
It is on my personal account. Go. Okay. So here's what I said. Wow. Okay. So it was May 1st, 2018.
Wait. So set the scene. So you're literally sitting in a Starbucks and you messaged.
No, I was sitting in the. Oh yeah, I was sitting in the Starbucks when I messaged him.
And you messaged him on your personal, just regular Justin Belanger Instagram.
7:23 a.m. So yeah. So I'm sitting in the Starbucks, messaging everyone. Just hey, because like the Mooseheads were the closest thing I had to like knowing big dogs, so I messaged like Darcy Ashley, like Stephen Fournier.
Yeah, I get it.
Like even McKinnon back then, like just everyone. So I said, hey, Zach, my name is Justin Belanger. I grew up in Halifax. I played for the Mooseheads for a bit before you got there. I do a podcast here in Halifax, and your name came up in conversation yesterday. And I just made that up. Like, his name didn't come up. Like, I'm just trying to, I'm just like, obviously I want it. So then I go, I've heard you're a big talker and could possibly be interested in joining the show. And I made that up too. Like, how would I know if he's possibly interested in joining the show?
Did you know he was a big talker? Were you just trying to say,
I did know he was a big talker. Like, I knew he was a talkative guy. So then I said, I think we could have a great conversation about your career up to this point. Let me know if you'd be interested. Thanks. And then 4 hours later, he just goes, sure, I'm interested. And I remember that message. He's just like, yeah. Like, I was like, you're on top of the world.
Wow.
You're on top of the world.
Dude, that message probably got you through that weekend.
It did.
You were probably thinking Friday afternoon. Like everyone else is like doing their thing, like getting ready to gear up for the weekend, and you had just spent a week sitting at Starbucks. That probably got you through, man.
Yeah, that was May. Yeah, that was crazy. I remember that day. And then, did you see the video of him walking into the dressing room after?
No, I saw the interview like that you were talking about afterwards, but I didn't catch him going in. So what?
So yeah, he just walked in. Everyone like gave him a little champagne water shower, just water bottle. He's like, golly, Zach.
Yeah.
Zach. There's water everywhere. And then he got the game MVP. You know how teams do.
The hard hat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he got like a shield.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, thanks, boys. And I didn't even hear what he said, to be honest. Everyone was still screaming while he was talking. But the post-game interview, back when he was out of his gear, like he was in a suit and tie, getting ready to get on the plane or whatever to go wherever they're playing next, I love his answer about, it's great. At the end of the day, it's just a win. Now it's about getting the second win. Like he took the moment. He loved it for a minute. Probably got to enjoy it with his family. And I love how he was right back to business. He's like, yeah, it's great. I'm very happy. I'm fortunate to have my first win. Fortunate to have my first game in the NHL. I don't even think he mentioned the shutout. He was just, I'm happy to be here. And then he was right back to business. And I love that. You don't get to a position like his without getting right back to business. Because in his nature, in his business, there's highs with the wins. There's lows with the losses. There's even lower lows with getting sent down to the East Coast.
Yeah, losses. That's what I like. That's the major loss, man. The getting sent down and down and down. But that was my point, man. Like you said, now that he's got the first game, first win, first shutout under his belt, he's just looking forward. He's like, all right, I got my first game done. Time to get like my first half season done. Time to get my first season of backing up done. Yeah. Time to get my first starting season. So it's pretty odd. I mean, it was a surprise, like you said. I don't think anyone really. Yeah. I didn't really know exactly what the situation was with him, but I know that their other goalie just had I don't even know what it was. It was like a day off. It said in the fantasy apps. It just says the Vancheck or whoever is starting there now. Just said day off. It said Fucali's spotting in for him, so I don't know what's going on there, but it fell into place for him.
And I like how you mentioned on social media we posted a lot of pictures of him and videos of him during that actual during the call up, and the amount of likes and shares and comments and support that went towards Zach was tremendous, because his time in Halifax, he's up there with the Conrad Albelscheisers of people that put their time and effort back into the community.
Yeah,
he was up there with because I remember Conrad was really big into going to the hospitals and going to the elementary schools and talking to the fans. I remember being a healthy scratch with the Mooseheads. Same with Conrad was on a healthy scratch. He was hurt, and he actually went down to the common area where the people are. Wow. And just he had to talk to 100 people at once, and he just I remember I was with him. I was like, look, Conrad, man, no one's talking to me. I'm going back up to the press.
Did you head down?
Well, I was with him for 5 minutes, and I'm like, look, no one's talking to me. I'm just gonna go back up to the press box, and he stayed down there. It was in the middle of the second period. He didn't come back up until the beginning of the third.
Really?
He just stayed down there and talked to everyone, signed every jersey. And I'm pretty sure Zach had that same influence on Halifax as well. I remember when he got back from the World Juniors, he was traded to Quebec, I believe. But the first game back from the World Juniors, he had to come to Halifax to grab his stuff from his billet's house or whatever. And he got a standing ovation for that first Moose. Like, he didn't go to Quebec yet. He was still in Halifax.
So he wasn't on the team, but he like went to the game.
Well, yeah, because like right from the World Juniors, he couldn't fly right to Quebec. He had to
Right.
fly to Halifax, get his clothes, and I guess the day he flew to Halifax, that was the day like they had a game against, I don't know, God knows who. And I was at that game, and I remember him walking out, and it was Ian, Ian.
Oh yeah.
And he, Zach Fucali, welcome back. And it was sold out barn. And I don't know if I've, other than like, there's been some big goals, but I don't know if I've heard a bigger round of applause in the Metro Center. Maybe McKinnon Mem Cup. That might have been a bit bigger. But other than that,
Came from a different place.
it came from a different place,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But other than that, standing ovation, I don't think I've seen another bigger standing ovation than Zach Fucali walking to center ice right after winning gold medal at the World Juniors. Unbelievable. Unbelievable the reception that he got walking into onto the carpet. I think he dropped the puck. Yeah, he dropped the puck for the opening game. It was
Dude,
unbelievable.
He's like, he really is like a legend among the Mooseheads. Like, I just want to say, like, it kind of yesterday it made me realize, like, past few days, like, we hadn't been seeing each other because it was Remembrance Day, all this stuff. So I was kind of I always obviously keep up with the social media, but like what you did, you posted instantly, he's starting. You posted, we're gonna get into it, but the other three guys who are friends of the show, who kind of have a connection around here. In the NHL, they were playing, and it kind of made me realize in that moment, I was like, part of what makes like High Button, like what I like so much about it is that like it does bring out these emotions and these memories for these Halifax, these Haligonians, as you'd say, like where a lot of these people who were sharing and liking that picture, it got over like 50 likes, like almost instantly, like this picture of him starting. A lot of these people don't really think about Zach Fucali. They haven't thought about him. They have memories of him. But then what like High Button's job is to show like, oh, he's starting tonight. And then all these people who have these great memories of him at the Memorial Cup or him playing in Halifax, they like comes back to them, and all the locals like, get back into it. So I think that's kind of like a nice part of like just like posting and like what you do, right? Is just you're reminding people like Zach Fucali, this guy was a Mooseheads legend. You may have forgotten about him in the 7 years, but now you're seeing he's getting his first start, and now he's got all the support from Halifax tonight, and all these people liking it and sharing it and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, for him to, he really was a legend. I mean, in my mind, 3 Mooseheads that should be retired in the rafters are Drouin, McKinnon, and Fucali from those 2 years or so, or however long they all played together there. So, like you said, he's gonna get the big ovations anytime he comes back here. I think next time it happens or whatever.
Every time he comes back, we always try to. We've done 2 podcasts with him, and they've both been while he's been in Quebec or Europe or something like that. Because here's my theory on it: every time he comes back to Halifax, he can't relax here because he has to visit people because he's touched so many people's lives here. He has billets, he has fans, he has friends, he has old teammates, he has coaches, management. He's affected so many people in this part of the world, which we call Halifax. Every time he comes here, he has an obligation to go see these people and thank them because he feels so. He feels grateful for this city, for what this city did to him, or did for him, excuse me. They gave him one of the best organizations to play at in the CHL. He arguably played on the best junior hockey team of all time, arguably top 5 maybe. My junior history isn't up to date,
no,
but
it's up there. I think everyone can agree
I'm sure
that.
there's some London Night teams
Yeah,
like
for
Laval
sure.
and Lemieux
Couple
played.
in the WHL.
There's a couple all-time great junior teams, but you could arguably say
top 5, top 7.
Top 5, top 7, all best junior teams of all time. And Fucali was the starting goalie for all of that, for that whole run, for those 2 years. Well, he was here for 3 years, maybe 4 years, but the years McKinnon and Drouin were here were those 2 years, and those were unbelievable hockey games to watch. And you could watch Drouin, you could watch McKinnon. I had season tickets the year they won the Mem Cup, and you could watch McKinnon, you could watch Drouin and be amazed, but you were also amazed every now and then on the defensive end with some of the saves that Fucali was making. Unbelievable, and to be rewarded by being drafted by Montreal, craziness.
Hey man, you don't make the World Juniors without having a couple of crazy games. So we can give him his props. It was awesome to see him do what he did. I mean, and we'll just keep seeing how he did. So he has been on the show, right?
He's been on the show twice.
In person.
No, never in person.
Never in
Both over the
person.
phone. Remember one time, I remember the first time he came on, we had technical difficulties, and it ruined my month. Oh, it was back. It was technical difficulties. Like there was like a glitch in the audio. I was oh my god. I don't even want to talk about it.
Is that when you quit doing the online ones, or?
It honestly, it had something to do with it.
Yeah.
I just remember being like, he called in and I put him on speaker, and I was like this, but like the microphone wasn't picking it up as well as I thought it would, and you could barely hear him. There was like crackle in the audio. That's
how it goes though, man. You know,
and then
progress.
and then the second time he agreed to it, but there was something that kind of got messed up in the scheduling, so he had to do it in the middle of a grocery store while he was like on a road trip somewhere or something like that. So he did it in the grocery store, and like in the background you could hear like spill on aisle 4, pickles, Sandy, please get there. And I'm like, where are you? He goes, we're on the road and I'm in a grocery store.
One of these days he'll either be in studio, we'll go to him, and you'll get him on for a legit show, and you can run through it, because that's too funny.
Oh,
we talk about him being a legend for like 20 minutes, and then we hear.
But that's what I mean. Like the guy will imagine being like on the road in the middle of wherever, and you got to go into a grocery store and do a podcast for an hour with some bum that lives in Halifax. Like he did that. Like he did that for me. And that's little things like that allow you to be a legend. If you're out there, you want to be a legend. You have to do things for the everyday folk.
Yeah.
And Zack has proved himself time and time and time again. That he cares, and he cares about the people that have supported him all these years in Halifax, and to every team that he's gone to, for sure.
Any other thoughts on Zack there before we kind of move on? We'll keep an eye on him. Hopefully have him on at some point.
Yeah, no, just Zack, keep doing what you're doing, buddy. I appreciate everything that you've done for this podcast, and I know that the hockey community, appreciates everything that you're doing for it. That's the rule of thumb. You're good to hockey, hockey's going to be good to you. Zack has been good to the game of hockey for years, and the game of hockey just
finally,
they just rewarded him a little bit. So congrats, Zack, and we wish you all the best here.
Speaking about friends of the show and people making the show, I guess, a couple other guys. Well, I mean, there was another big call-up friend of the show. I remember driving back this summer, I listened to the podcast you did with this gentleman. So big deal here. I mean, I know Ottawa also got hit with some COVID problems, but earlier this week,
Igor Sokolov,
yep,
the Russian sensation.
Yes,
the guy pulls up. He has to duck. He's so big coming into this basement. Biggest smile on his face, barely knows English, but yet another guy who takes time out of his day to support this podcast and this company. First time I ever met Igor, probably 2 years ago. The same thing. We've done 2 podcasts with him, both in studio, and both times willing to open up, I guess. Willing to struggle with his English, even though his English is fine. But he knew, I remember after we did the first podcast, he put the headphones down, moved the mic away, and he goes,
holy
really? I've never spoke that much English in my life.
Wow.
Because it was an hour straight of just pure English. Because when he speaks, it's just, I don't know, it's just consistent. It's just little conversation. It's just little conversations. But for a pure hour of English, and I felt bad. I was like, "Oh, sorry. I thought you knew this was an hour. I'm sorry." And he goes, "Oh, no. It was good. I like it. I like to practice. It's good. It's good." And he was happy. I thought for a second he was all pissed at me. No, he's happy. He's pumped.
And then, I mean, so that was the first time. And then he came. So when would that have been? A couple years ago?
Yeah, 2019, maybe summer of 2019.
Okay. So then he comes back summer of 2021, last summer.
Oh, yeah. So, sorry. Maybe it was 2020.
Okay.
And then his second time was 2021.
Right. So he comes back, and I remember listening, like I said, and he, I think you kind of knew, and I think the writing was on the wall that he was actually, like, making big strides in his game. And, this could be the year where he might get some looks and start to improve. That was the vibe I was getting from the podcast. So I don't know, how long did it take, 13 games into the year?
What do you mean?
You guys were talking about, how he actually might get called, how he made strides in his game, and he might get, this might be the year he sees some NHL action.
Well, I heard all of that information from other guys who were skating with him, who were skating with him in the summer.
Okay.
So like there'd be guys that would be skating with him in the summer. They'd come over, and they didn't even really talk about it on the podcast. Like it was after. And I think like Liam O'Brien said it, like that Igor guy's good, like he'll be there. And like Batherson said it about him, Shaw said it about him, his two teammates, which by the way was an amazing picture.
Yeah.
And there was a couple other guys. They were saying that he was impossible to get the puck off of in the corner during these summer skates in Halifax. And
Good skill to have.
and I remember, like I said, when he first walked into the podcast studio, are you good? 2 years ago, the guy barely fit through the door. Like he's just not like fat, but like just muscle, so tall. He's built like a fridge. Like he could, and he shakes your hand. He squeezes, he squeezes your hand like he's a Russian bear. Like he's just huge.
Yeah.
And I didn't really see the guy play much hockey. Like I'm not watching. He played for Cape Breton, so it's
Belleville.
It's like there's not much broadcast there. But I remember. Where did I see it? But World Juniors is probably where I got the first look at him. But that was back 2018 or 19, World Juniors. And then I remember him saying that he was working with Jill Plandowski on his skating and trying to get quicker, trying to get smoother. And you could definitely see that paying off the other day in the NHL. He looked great. He's a huge body, but he gets up and down the ice pretty well, if you ask me. He's not the quickest guy out there, but my God, once he gets the puck, you couldn't get it off him in the corners, and that's really good in the NHL. I think for the first game, that's one thing. Anytime anyone that's been in the NHL and I've talked to, what's it like in the NHL? What's it like in the NHL? A lot of these guys talk about puck possession and not giving up the puck, because if you give up the puck, I don't have to explain to you or anyone listening, you don't want to give up the puck. And I remember watching in his first NHL game there the other day, he was very strong on the puck in the corners, and he held his own for sure.
That's good to know. Like it doesn't surprise me you say that, because like that's probably the most immediate thing when you go from like, say you're playing in the Q or like even the AHL. And like you're able to kind of, like, a lot of these guys dangle around, like they're able to just hold on to the puck, they put on these crazy highlight reel shifts, and then like you said, the first thing every NHLer says is they head to the NHL and then they say puck possession. Like before I might have had 2 seconds to make a play with the puck, now I've got like 0.5 seconds. So if he can, like, if you're saying his biggest attribute is like hard to rip the puck off of, good in the corners, big defenseman, then and a great attitude as well, I think, because like even you, if anyone who listened to that podcast, you could hear how great his attitude was towards just hockey and being in Canada in general. Then I think he's got what it takes, man. Like,
well, I think you just said the key word there, attitude. You talk about a guy who comes over from Russia, doesn't know a lick of English. Thank God Batherson took him under his wing in Cape Breton and taught him a little English.
Yeah,
was patient with him, from what I hear, from what Igor told me. Doesn't get drafted. Looked over the draft twice, I believe. Stays patient. What's the theme of this podcast? Good things come to those who wait. Igor waited. He took his time. He worked hard. He didn't give up. I think he had to sacrifice almost 2 years of not going back to Russia, not because he didn't want to, but COVID. Right. Imagine not being able to see your family for 2 years and you're stuck in a foreign land. But once again, just like we talk about with Zach, this part of the world is special for that reason. I know Igor talks very highly about his billet family in Cape Breton and how they literally became a second family to him. You talk about people from this part of the world, and it's not a joke. People do joke about it. Oh, you talk to someone for 5 minutes, you'll end up knowing one of their buddies. It's just a matter of time. But we joke, we laugh. It is funny, but it's one of the most truest statements out there. If you come to this part of the world and you're from another place, you will feel like family within a couple of hours if you run into the right people. Obviously, there's some dicks. There's dicks everywhere in the world. But for the majority of the people here in this part of the world, they will take you under their wing. They will teach you our way of life, and they will want to make you successful. Every now and then I think about taking this company to Toronto, but then I think about, if you're in Toronto, you're in a big city, and then I become a small company. I'm in Halifax, where it's not a huge market, and I'm a medium-sized company. We are a medium-sized company, excuse me. And the people here want to see us succeed. It's the same thing with Fucali. It's the same thing with Igor. It's the same thing with anyone trying to do something great with their life. People want to see other people succeed. There isn't really a jealousy factor. If you're a nice person, you show hard, good work ethic, and you care about the scenario you're in, other people will want to see you succeed. And that's a great example for Igor coming here, being coming in, like you just said, with a positive attitude, working hard, not giving up. And look at the support that he's seen from this part of the world. And it's translated into hopefully a long NHL career. You got to remember, he's only 22, 23. He's young. He could still
Oh
have a
yeah.
long, long NHL career. He's very young. And from what I saw the other day, he held his own in that NHL game.
And like I said, from what we've seen over his short career so far, he's very good at like actually making adaptations that'll improve like the like with the eye test and his play. You know, like some players they reach a certain level and they're not really able to put things together that make them like a full-time NHLer or do these things. It seems like he's a great listener, great attitude, picks up on things well, has a big body. So those are things that kind of like you see in players that stay in the NHL, right? So it's pretty that's interesting. You mentioned the idea of moving the company though, or kind of like the local support. I do definitely feel that too. Like it's definitely a game changer being somewhere here. Like
Yeah.
lots of support on a daily basis in the rinks on the social media. So it's quite nice.
Well, yeah, like the Toronto thing, Halifax is such a great market. It's such a cool market. It's a growing market. If you look at the past year, I don't know about you, but I know for me, how many people do you know that have moved from Toronto? Look, well, you're an example. You are the guy. So many people have moved back from Toronto to Halifax just to start up something new. And I don't know if that trend is going to continue. I hope it does. But this market is so cool. You look at the Thunderbirds, you look at the Halifax Wanderers, you look at the Mooseheads. Well, they've always been a monster here. But you look at certain things around this part of the world that are just unbelievable. And it's a cool market. I think that's a great word. It's a very cool market.
You love Halifax, don't you?
I love Halifax.
Yeah. I feel like
place
you
made
yeah. I agree. I didn't want to say it, but like I feel like you definitely have a close relationship with it, just the city in general, just based on like the connections and that you've made and like all this stuff you've done. So it's I always hear you talk about it, like Halifax and the community and everything, and like there's a real passion there. So it's nice, and it's just nice to see people appreciate it like we do, right? These players.
Well, 100%. I think a good part of, or excuse me, a good reason why it succeeds is, well, I shouldn't say that. It allows you to succeed if you're good to it. If that makes sense. You know how I said, like, you know, if you're good to hockey, hockey will be good to you. It's the same thing with Halifax. If you're good to Halifax, Halifax will be good to you. And that has to go with the people. Word gets around really quickly here in Halifax. It's a small community. People talk. If you have maybe a bad name or a bad brand or something happened to you where you I don't know, you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you do someone dirty, you don't have a good reputation, word gets around here quickly. But if you have the intentions to do well, to help others, to live a happy life and succeed, the city will take that into consideration and give it back to you. At least that's what I've noticed. If you go into things with a positive attitude, the city will give you a positive attitude back. And that's just in life in general. I'm not saying that's just Halifax. That's just life in general. But I think it's very true here in this part of the world for sure.
It is. It's just when you think based on what Halifax is, it's a small community, but it's also we're the biggest city east of Quebec City. So there's a lot of people like in one area. So it is a big city. It's not close to a lot of other cities. There's kind of like I mean, if you're born here and you grow up here, you understand it. But like you said, it kind of like if you come here from elsewhere and you get the Halifax vibe and you figure it out, then you can really succeed here. Like these guys were talking about. Fukali wasn't from here. Igor wasn't from here, but this is where they liked and they called home. And I think a lot of these Ontario people, just like wider than the sports spectrum, they're going to realize, and they think they do realize pretty quick, like when they come here, it's a lot different here than it is Toronto or any of those thousands of suburban areas out there in Ontario. So it's cool to see.
Well, you look at all the people that come here for school, Dal, SMU, NSCC, King's College. The list goes on of how many schools are here where people from Ontario come, or not just Ontario, any other part of the world that come here and end up staying here. You know, they have families here, they have kids here, they buy a home here, and the next thing you know, they're here for life. There's something about it that has a magnet ability to you that just makes
Oh,
you want to stay here.
I
It's unbelievable.
I believe it, man. When I left here at the end of at the end of grade 12, I was born here, lived here my whole life. I was ready to go. I was like, I need to like try. I need to get out here. Like, I want to go to like Toronto, the big city. Blah blah blah. Like I don't know if I'll ever be back in Halifax. I thought that for years and years. And then I go to Toronto, do finish school, and then come back here because of COVID. And then it took me about like I don't know, maybe a couple months to really like once I settled in, I was like, man, like now that I'm an adult, especially like you see like the great parts of Halifax and like the things that make you want to stay. And then I found High Button and I was like, and I saw the opportunity. I was like if we could make something work, like I want to be here. But just to your point, like I literally left here in high school with no intentions of coming back, did 4 years in Toronto, and now like I'm back here with no intentions of leaving, or at least anytime soon, right? So it's I believe it, man.
I love those summer skates that those guys do in the NHL, and they're here, and they bring other people from all over the world to come here. I don't know where Taylor Hall's from, but he's here all the time. Jack Eichel was here this summer. You have Tavares that comes. I think Jack Hughes was here for a bit 2 summers ago. They all come here. You know what? And yeah, obviously, of course, because Sid and Nate and Marchand and all those big dogs are here, of course. But I think it also has something to do. All good?
Yeah.
But I also think it has something to do with the environment that they're put into. There isn't a lot of people. If you have a skate like that in Toronto, the rink is packed.
Oh yeah.
There's cameras everywhere. There's people hounding you for autographs. There's chaos. But you do that skate here, yeah, there's still going to be a camera. There's still going to be an autograph session. There's still going to be, but at a capacity, not at a capacity, but at a level where there's respect. People here respect figures that are put on a pedestal. You know, you look at the big three, Sid, Nate, Marchand. You look at these big dogs. Why do they come back here in the summer? Yeah, okay, sure, they grew up here. Yeah, sure, they have family, friends here, everything, of course. But they understand that the community isn't going to hound them. The community is going to respect them. The community is going to allow them to live a life that's, not hounded by reporters. And you got to do this, you have to do that. They understand that when they come back here, there's a sense of normalcy. There's a sense of community. And then there's good people here that won't pressure them into doing things that they don't want to do, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I mean, and it showed up to your point pretty quickly. Remember when the Maple Leafs had their camp here in Bedford?
Yeah.
They had it at the BMO Center 2015-16. They still got the big sign up for it. But you think that doesn't happen without these guys coming back to Halifax and bringing all their NHL star buddies?
Yeah.
Not a chance that happens without that. So they bring their because the year before I remember it was like Giroux skating on BMO Pad C, and then you're just like, what? Like this is weird. And then a year later, it's like the Maple Leafs are bringing a full camp here with Matthews, all these guys.
That was the year before. I don't think Matthews was at that camp. It was Marner.
It was 2015. Oh, maybe it was the year before he got drafted. It was 2015-16.
Yeah. But they did go to Newfoundland. Training camp was in Newfoundland. Same energy.
You don't think that stuff doesn't happen unless there's eyeballs on Halifax in the hockey world.
Yeah,
and that's because of those guys. So it's great to see.
Yeah.
Moving forward, I mean, yesterday was the holiday. We got to
Remembrance Day.
Give the yep.
You know, there's a lot of people out there that not people out there. There was a lot of people that sacrificed their lives in order for you and I to sit in this basement and talk into microphones while cameras videotape us and have freedom of speech, to be able to walk down the street, wear whatever you want. Can't be naked. You got to wear clothes. But there's a freedom here within Canada that wouldn't be if it wasn't for a lot of vets that sacrificed their lives. And I know there's a lot of talk right now about the Canada's not a free country. You have to be vaccinated. You have to do all this shit. Like fuck, I'm not gonna get into it right now. But this is an amazing country that we live in, an incredible country that we live in. And sometimes I think we take it for granted. I take it for granted every now and then. I won't lie. You look at the news and you look at some of the problems that are going on in the other world. I try not to pay attention to it, but you see some of the problems that other people are having, and it doesn't even come close to some of the issues that we have to deal with here in Canada. For the majority of the part, for the most part, the only thing I can do is speak for myself. I wake up with a smile on my face, knowing that I get to work for a company that I started and is thriving in a country that I can call home. I don't have to deal with politics to an extent. As you get older, I think politics start to creep into your life, unfortunately. I don't really believe politics, I think, is a broken system. I don't think it'll ever really work, but it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And I'm getting away from the people that sacrifice their lives here. But wearing the poppy is crucial. I'm not gonna say if you don't believe in Remembrance Day, it's hard to talk about this.
Well, you gave your piece.
Yeah,
like you gave what you believe. You can't. It is what it. That's all you can do, and what you appreciate.
Just wear a poppy. I mean, there's people out there that still are alive that were in World War II, that maybe World War I too, that are still living. If you see a vet and if you see someone, I guess it's too late now. They're not selling poppies, but if you see someone next year trying to sell you a poppy, think of all the people that sacrificed their lives in order for you just to be in that store walking around freely. Don't be afraid to chuck them a toonie, to grab a poppy, chuck it on, represent your country, and show that you appreciate the past. I saw a cool quote the other day: is that you can't have a bright future unless you recognized your past. And I think that might be a little bit of an issue that we're having. Our future isn't for sure cement. Nobody really knows what the future looks like with the pandemic and everything like that. But I do know that understanding our past and understanding the sacrifices that people made back in the day in order for us to be here definitely helps me in my state of mind. Yeah, for sure. You got to wear a mask inside everywhere you go. You have to do certain things maybe you don't want to do right now. You have to, maybe you can't travel the places you want to do. You can't do certain business aspects you don't want to do right now. But you have to understand that none of that would be possible if you don't look to the past and know that people sacrificed in order for us to just be able to have an opportunity to just strive in business here, just to have an opportunity to have an economy that's running somewhat well. You have to look at the past and go, okay, they sacrificed. I can sacrifice a little bit of my time and effort to suck it up and not bring negative energy into the world. That's all I'll say about that.
Well said.
You know what I mean?
I went down to the cenotaph yesterday for the 11 o'clock. There was a lot of support. Kind of reminded me when I was a kid. There was a lot of people there. There was a lot of support there in Bedford. So
was there?
Nice to see. Yeah,
that's great to see.
We walked down, me and my dad, and it actually did remind me, like, a lot of the things I find now, there's just less people at, which is understandable because of the pandemic. But that really wasn't like it looked like what I remembered. So it was nice to see a lot of people go out for that. So
yeah, we went down to the Dingle and it was nice.
There's
people down there. I don't think there was a ceremony. There was just a lot of people wearing poppies. The moment of silence was literally like it was 11 o'clock when we were down there, and there was people that just stopped and just it's cool.
Yeah.
How much time are we at right now?
41 minutes.
We're at 41 minutes right now.
41. So I think the last thing, just maybe a little company update, how the week's been.
A little company update?
Yeah, just gonna finish them off with a little company update.
Company update. We got a new live streaming contract. I think we already said that. Bayview High School.
Yeah.
Very excited about that. We love getting into the high school world. I played high school hockey. Some of the best memories I've ever had.
I was not good enough for that, but
you weren't good enough for high school hockey?
No, but my best friend was the captain of CPA, so I kind of know the scene.
Holy
so you played it?
Yeah, the high school hockey is unbelievable. It's good because you get to play in front of your classmates and friends. If more girls I find show up to high school hockey, which is great.
I did one game for them last weekend, man. I saw tons of girls in there.
You can't tell me that those guys aren't playing a lot. I know shamelessly enough, like when there's a girl in the stands that you like, you play a little bit harder. You throw the body around a bit more. You do things maybe that you wouldn't do before if they weren't in the stands.
Isn't that funny how that works? I just want to say real quick. Last night I was playing like just my intramural hockey there. And my dad, he's like considering coming up and playing. Like I play with some older guys. So my dad wanted to come up just like to the LeBron Center. It's just close to us. He comes up just to watch for like 10 minutes just to see. He wanted to see like how the pace of play, if he could keep up, right? Because I don't know. He asked me, but I'm like, I don't know. But for those 10 minutes that I knew he was in the corner, man, I don't think I tried that hard in hockey in like 3 years. And it doesn't matter at all. Like, has no bearing. But just when someone's watching, like, because I used to, when I was a kid, I just always try to get, like, you always want to play the best in front of your parents. You want them to be proud. You want them to in the car afterwards to say how good your goal was or something. But it was so funny. Like, I could care less about like how many goals or how many like whatever we scored during these things. But for that 10 minutes, my dad was there. That's the hardest I tried in years. Anyway, going back. So the high school hockey, it is awesome to be in there. I did the first game the other week.
What rink is it in again?
St. Margaret's Bay.
Yeah.
Anyone who played hockey around Halifax, you probably know it. Just out in Tantallon there, past HP.
If you play well there, you go to Dairy Queen after the game.
Oh,
buddy.
dude, that was like the dynamic duo, the Dairy Queen and the St. Margaret's Bay. But yeah, no, it's nice. Had a little mishap.
What happened? Oh, the wires.
The wire, just the wire. I mean, in this biz, dude, it was kind of like we had that Friday afternoon last week. We were buzzing. We had Mickey coming on Monday. We had a bunch of live streams lined up. We were like, all right, let's just make sure these ones go smooth. And to be fair, majority of the time they do, and they end up working well. We're doing this game. We set up. The internet's great, and halfway through the second period, I just feel like a tug, because I'm doing the camera and I'm doing the commentary, and I just feel like a tug, and instantly like my head whips around, and the entire Ethernet, so the internet port where I'm running out of, is just like ripped out of the wall. And there's just this high school kid with his backwards hat on, his flow hanging out the back, his mask on. And from what I could see from his eyes, his face just looked white. Like he had just like really...
So he felt bad.
Oh, he looked like he felt bad. He wasn't like he wasn't like shaking it off or anything. But instead of me sitting there and like staring at the kid being like, what the heck's happening? I basically just had to go into like action mode of like, oh, my stream just went down. The Ethernet port's ripped out of the wall. Where's the maintenance guy, kind of. So anyway, the guy basically trips on the cord behind me halfway through the second period after everything was going so smooth. Pulls the whole thing out of the wall. It was a high school kid just there to watch his friends or do whatever on a Friday night. So
that's how it goes.
Man,
every time we have a new contract, the first stream, something goes wrong.
I know, and the internet is the thing that's supposed to go wrong. That's what we prepare to go wrong. We don't prepare for the whole thing to get pulled out of the wall, but it is what it is. It's just kind of how it goes. And I ran downstairs. I got the maintenance guy. He came up. The guy was super cool. Shout out to the St. Margaret's Bay staff. I'm going there later tonight, but they're...
Bring him a charcuterie board.
Yeah, bring the charcuterie board. That guy was nice, though. He unscrewed the Ethernet port off of the wall for me, and we looked inside. It was all torn up because the guy tripped on the cord so hard. The employee plugs in the Ethernet cord for me. He's holding it in to see if the internet will start. It finally starts. We like tape my cord into the wall pretty much, and then we go on for the third period. Hey everyone, sorry, we're back for Bayview High. I mean, luckily they were up 5-0, and they were actually playing a really good game, I must say. But so it wasn't a huge deal, but I definitely, in the moment, like, my problem is I get really mad. Or not, like, mad, but just, like, I beat myself up. I'm like, God damn, me and Justin just wanted a smooth weekend. Like, why did this have to happen? This could have been taken care of. But then, as soon as the game was done and I went home, I was like, all right, this is the thing you can be pissed at for a night. But, like, tomorrow morning when you wake up, you got to put it behind you and just, like, make sure it doesn't happen next week, kind of. So that's how I'm thinking.
All you can do in this business is learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
What do we say? It's a trial and error business.
Oh yeah.
Always, like, with the live streaming aspect, you have to, people listening, and like the rinks in Nova Scotia do not have good internet.
No.
Well, especially for not a big setup, but we have like a medium-sized setup. If you stream just on your phone,
you're golden.
You're golden, but you have to understand, if you just stream on your phone, that means you don't have a scoreboard. That means you don't have commentary. You can have commentary, but it would just be not the best. It would be echoey in the back.
Yeah.
And scoreboard
you
and
can't have different camera
you can't
angles.
have different camera angles. So there's three things there: commentary, scoreboard, and camera angles that you're kind of taking out of your live stream, which kind of sucks because a lot of teams that we deal with, they do want commentary and they do want a scoreboard. So our setup is a little bit medium. We have a camera, we have a switcher, we have a laptop, and we have to use the rink's internet, and we hardwire, or sometimes we use Wi-Fi. Really, we've hardwired before, and it works sometimes.
Well, we do like the half hardwire where we bring our own D-Link connector, and then we use that as the Wi-Fi. So it's like it's hardwiring every week, but it's like not to your computer. It's more just to another device.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's funny because like I feel like the people of the podcast don't really realize the live streams part of it, which takes up a lot of our time, our brain, our like effort, our energy.
Well, that's one thing. Like when we come in here Monday, we focus on three things. One, who's going to be our podcast guest. Two, who's doing all of our live streams throughout the week. Because on a weekend, we'll probably have 8 live streams on average. So we have to make sure that everyone, we have a camera guy for every game. We have commentating for every game. We have the ads ready for every game. We have to make sure that everyone's organized, computers ready. So that's a big thing that we work on Monday. And then number 3, I guess, is just the content in between. We have to make sure that we have a mic'd up video. We have to make sure, if we don't have a mic'd up video, we have a street interview. We have to make sure that the clothing for the sales is doing somewhat well. Do we have a photo shoot? So there's probably 3 aspects of the company that we really focus on every Monday morning. And then once we make that plan, then we just go attack. We go out and execute. We don't sit around and talk about it. We just go out and actually do it. So that's like where the company is right now. Really not a whole lot of updates, but that's
just trying to keep it simple, you know.
Yeah.
Live, like I said, the live streams is a big part of what we do now. It's something we're improving every week. The social media stuff, the photo shoots, it's all yeah, like you said, we don't sit around and talk about it though. We like schedule it and then do it, and then like hope for the best, kind of.
Yeah. How much time are we have right now? I just want
49 minutes.
I just want to give a little bit of an update on our clothing situation. So right now the weather is getting colder. So you do need a High Button Sports winter hat, whether your color is black, whether your color is blue. You need to go to our website right now, www.hightbuttonsports.ca. Click on the shop tab. Say that 10 times fast. Click on the shop tab and pick yourself up a brand new High Button Sports hat. Beautiful stitching. The red logo pops out, so when you're in a social setting, people are going to be able to see that High Button Sports logo, and you can wear it with pride. And most importantly, it's going to keep you warm. The other day, I had to go out and rake some leaves. The girlfriend was yelling at me, "Justin, go rake the leaves."
Here were horrible.
Justin, go rake the leaves. I said, all right. So I go outside. It's cold, but what do I chuck on? My trusty High Button Sports hat. Covers my ears, keeps me warm, and I was raking those leaves, 1, in good fashion. I looked great doing it, and 2, I was warm. So if you have those 2 combinations, a good look and a warm hat, I think you have a combination for a good piece of winter clothing. So one more time, www.hightbuttonsports.ca. Click the shop tab, go down, find the hat you want. Make sure to purchase it. We will ship it to you, and you'll be looking good this winter. Also, we have High Button Sports flags. All you college frat kids out there, or anyone out there that has a lakefront property with a pole, with a flagpole.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
Or just anyone that has a flagpole, or anyone that just wants a High Button Sports flag. Doesn't really matter what you...
Has a bedroom.
Yeah, anyone that has a bedroom or a wall. Pick up a High Button Sports flag. Once again, the flags are also at www.hightbuttonsports.ca. If you click on the shop tab, you will see the flags down there. They are 5 feet by 3 feet. These aren't your small boys, okay? These are your big boys. When you pick up the flag, or when we ship it to you, you'll be able to see it for sure. It's big. Right now, we have one hanging in the studio. It is a centerpiece. Every time someone walks into the studio, they notice it. They talk about it. And it's good quality, too. I really like the flags. It's a good little piece to have. I wish if I was in college, if I had one, it would be great to hang in the living room or something like that.
That'd be right next to the Saturdays Are for the Boys flag.
You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I never thought. That's like their quote thing. That's their barstool thing. Yeah. Also, we have some bucket hats left, so I think we actually just sold 2.
Yeah.
So we have. We still have a couple left, actually. Those bucket hats. Those are great for fishing. Those are great for golf. Those are great for you want to make a fashion statement. Pick up a High Button Sports bucket hat. They are going quick. Christmas is going to be here before you know it. A flag would be a great Christmas gift. So would the hats, the winter hats, and so would the bucket hats. So make sure to head on over to hightbuttonsports.ca. Click on the shop tab and pick up yourself some High Button Sports clothing. We got anything else on the tab going today, Jeff? Do you want to say anything to the people?
Not much, man. Stream start.
We're good?
Yeah. My mind's on the streams.
All right. Well, once again, thank you very much for everyone tuning in to the High Button Podcast. And also, once again, congrats to Zach. Congrats to Igor. We wish you guys nothing but the best, and we wish you nothing but success and longevity when it comes to your NHL careers. We hope you guys stick around there and win a Stanley Cup one day. What the hell? Once again, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in and listening. If you could head on over to our iTunes app, click on the High Button Podcast. Leave us a 5-star review, a 4-star review. Leave us a comment, and if you want to leave a 3 or 2 or 1-star review, go ahead, but I'm not going to be happy. That's going to be very upsetting to me. If you want me to have a bad day, I'll have, I don't care, I'll suck it up. But a 5-star, 4-star review, you just give us a 5-star. What are you 4-star? Give us a 5-star review. Leave a comment. Let us know how you feel. Let us know what you want. Let us know if you want us to answer some questions on Twitter. Let us know if you want us to have a certain guest on. Let us know if you want anything. I'm here to entertain you, and that's our job. So once again, this is the High Button Podcast. Enjoy your weekend. It's Friday. Have fun. Work hard. Jeff, once again, thank you for joining here. Well, it's your job to be here, so no thank you. But it's a good job showing up today. He's on time. And we're out. Peace.
All right. Sweet.